Hey everyone, it's Katie the Stash Queen coming to you on this Monday, February the 8th. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to videotape yesterday, but this past weekend, Friday through Sunday, was just insanely busy with Girl Scouts and election stuff and family stuff and the Super Bowl and just all sorts of craziness that not a ton of stitching happened this weekend, let alone filming. So I apologize that I wasn't here yesterday, but I'm here today. So let's go ahead and get started. I was going to go ahead and start, as I always do, with my Q&A. First one is actually kind of a cool question because it's not really stitchy related, but anyone who knows this channel knows I'm a Whovian. R&R Junkie 66 asked, who is my favorite doctor and who is my favorite companion? Doctor is easy. I like 10 the best. David Tennant is awesome. He's followed very closely by 11. Matt Smith's doctor had some of my favorite stories in the entire series, but 10 was my favorite doctor. Companion is harder. I can tell you my least favorite was Martha. And then everyone else, it just kind of depends. I love Rose with 10. I didn't like her so much with 9. I like the Pawns when they're Amy and Rory, not just Amy by herself. Clara, I liked more when she was with 11 than I liked her with 12. Donna was awesome with 10. I don't know. My least favorite was Martha. I did not like the Martha episodes at all. Even though I love David Tennant, Martha just did nothing for me. So companion, I'll say with 10, it's a tie between Rose and Donna. For 11, it's the Pawns in general. 12, I'm looking forward to him getting the new companion. How's that? Beverly Evander asked if there comes a time in my rotation when a piece comes up and I just don't want to work on that piece that day, and what do I do? I personally, yes, it has happened. It happens semi-regularly. I don't think it's ever going to stop happening as long as I'm stitching. And it's usually the pieces that I love the finished product, but wherever I am on the piece at that time is making me whine. So usually when those pieces come up in the rotation, Christmas Countdown is one I think of with the big red border. I'm so excited to get into the center area where there's actually more stuff than red border, but I'm working on the red border because I want to finish that red border. I will time myself and say, okay, I'm going to give myself half an hour to work on this, and then I'm going to give myself permission to work on something else in a given day. Remember, even if you have rotations, that the only person that is holding you to that rotation is yourself. So if you decide that there's a piece in your rotation that you don't want to work on and you want to skip it and go work on something else, do it. That doesn't mean you failed at your rotation. It just means you're making modifications. Just remember, this is supposed to be a hobby that you enjoy. And if you don't like what you're working on, or if you're not having fun with what you're working on, you need to find something else to work on. Or give yourself permission to work on it in small increments and not feel like you have to stitch on it for a massive amount of time. Alex Croft asked, with my fabrics and my projects, how does it work? Do I buy projects to fit my fabric? Do I buy fabric to fit my projects? Neither. I buy patterns that I like. Whether it's a Mirror or a Joan Elliott or a Chatelaine or Lizzie Kate or Bent Creek or whatever. If I like a pattern and I want it in my stash, I buy it. Fabric, I'm a member of 2 Fabric of the Month clubs with Under the Sea Fabrics and Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I used to be members of Silk Weavers and Picture This Plus, so I have stash from them. And then Stitchy Box usually sends fabric as well. So, and then I'll buy with sales and all that. I buy fabric, the Fabric of the Month clubs, I don't choose that fabric. I've chosen the size and the count, but it's not, I don't pick out that fabric specifically. But I build a stash. When I do buy fabrics, it's usually because there's a sale and I buy what I want from the sale. When it comes time for me to sit down and figure out that I want to kit up a project, I will pick out a pattern and then I will go through my fabric stash and figure out what fabric I want to work on. So I guess you can say I will find a pattern to work on the fabric, but I don't buy a piece of fabric and then go out and say I have to find a pattern for this fabric. It just ends up being, here's a pattern I have in my stash, here is my fabric stash, which ones are going to go together? Make sense? Laura Love, I apologize. I thought I had answered this question, but I guess I skipped it. Sorry. Asked how I tackle storing my magazines, because she has noticed that there are some times that I tear things out of magazines. Do I tear things out that I like and then I'm throwing them away? What do I do? I do not rip my just cross-stitch ornament issues or my just cross-stitch Halloween issues, just because of what they are. Everything else is open to me ripping and pulling things out. For the year of starts, I've gone through and pulled out all of the patterns from the magazines that aren't the just cross-stitch ornament issues or the Halloween issues, and put them in sleeves so I don't have to worry about dealing with 1,000 magazines while I am doing my year of starts. Next year, meaning 2017, and then right now everything else with my magazines, ripped out or not, they're just stored right now on a bookshelf with intentions of how to make it neater eventually. My intentions in 2017 will be to go through all of the rest of the magazines and figure out which ones are a maybe and which ones are a definite yes. Because there's some that are like, I don't know if I want to stitch that now, but I might want to stitch it for an occasion later on. There are some patterns that I know I'll never stitch because it's not my aesthetic. It's not a station of life that I'm in. It's just not something that I'm interested in. So I will probably start paring down my magazines in 2017. But right now I rip out the patterns that I want to work on because it's just easier to deal with that in one of the little page protectors than it is to deal with the big magazines. Like I said, except for ornament and Halloween issues. Then Putty Cook asked or Patty Cook, sorry, whichever one, where did I get my boards for my needle minders? They're from IKEA, and I don't have the little name for it anymore, but I saw them everywhere in IKEA on the walls. I saw them in the kitchen section, I saw them in the bathroom section, I saw them in the general home organizing section. They're just magnetic boards. Let me see, does this one have it on the back? Ah, yes. This is the one that doesn't have anything on it, right? Yep. It's the Spontan. Sorry for the glare, but there's the name. The Spontan. And that's what it is. And it's about this size. Does it tell you? 14.5 by 30 3/4 inches. And it holds very well. It's got set stuff on the back for you to hang them, which I'm going to do eventually. It holds a ton of minders. You can see I'm missing minders because I've been kitting out for March. So yeah, that's where I got it from. Those are all the questions that I had this week. Thank you everyone for asking your questions. And as always, if you have any other questions that you'd like me to answer in my weekly Q&As, just ask them below. So, week in review. Generally a successful week. The only, I've got piles and piles of stuff over here. Like I said, I've done all my kitting up for March and made my order for what I'm still missing in March. And I was able to order it all from 123 Stitch, so I don't have to worry about waiting forever from Stitching Bits and Bobs. Great products, great prices, long wait. Then, and I only had 2 holdovers, well, I guess 3 technically if you want to count Sunday. But I only had 2 holdovers for my whips that I had scheduled for last week. Everything else got worked on. This next week, it's going to be another busy week. My kids have stuff after school every night this week between an after school enrichment program and a doctor's appointment and soccer practice and Girl Scouts, and then the soccer season starts on Saturday, and it's going to be a busy week. But so we'll see what and how far I get going this week, but I'm excited about what's coming up for this week. So anyway, let's look what I did this past week before I start rambling on, Katie. This past week, okay, start with my annual stitch-alongs like I always do. Monday was February 1st, so I started working on the February block of the Magical Creatures Calendar stitch-along. And here is where I got. This is by Clouds Factory, and I'm doing it on 32 Opal Belfast in Diva from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's flosses and silks from Most Sale, and I'm almost done with this block. It will be finished this week. So much easier than the massive block of January, but then March is going to be huge over here. So I like it. I am going to backstitch. You can read February a whole lot better than you could read January, but since I backstitched January, I'm going to backstitch all of the months. Yay! And my minder is from Minding My Minders, who is now on hiatus until May. So no more joining that group or getting minders. I made one last minder order from her before she went on hiatus because she's filling all the orders that were placed by a certain date. But she's going on a break for a little bit, which is fine. I'll miss her though. So I'll continue working on that this week. Then Postcards from the World and Pumpkin Passport both had their second parts come out this week, and they were both Paris, which I found kind of funny. But that's okay. They both took a different take on Paris, and with how I'm going about differently with each of these stitch-alongs, even though they both have, you know, the Louvre and the Eiffel Tower, I'm still totally fine with that. So here is the Clouds Factory Postcards from the World. The border is, I believe it's called Liberty from Mosale, and it's red, white, and blue for the colors of the French flag. And it's been working really well to do a color a day. Because I did the border in a day, then I did the green grass in a day, then I did the white in a day, and then a couple of days where there were smaller colors, I would do like 2 in a day. I'll get this finished this week. And I have an idea for what I'm going to put in this little sign, because there's nothing charted for the sign, but I have an idea. So we're going to see how it works. So yeah, there's Postcards from the World. Really enjoying this one. Oh, and it's a Moulin Rouge, appropriate for Paris, needle minder from Delicious Threads. So I'll continue working on that this week. I will be surprised if I don't finish it this week. It should be. Then the next one was my Hoovian Eyes. Oh, and that's on the the Postcards from the World is on 32 Job Linen Ice Goddess from Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie using silks and flosses from Moe's. Pumpkin Passport is on 28 Jobelin from Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie and Ice Goddess, also using flosses and silks from Moe's. So here is where I am this week. I haven't gotten to Paris yet. But look, we have Rose on her TARDIS Blue Vespa. I added some back stitching to the British flag so it would look more like the British flag. There is a little red Dalek on the top of the bridge. The TARDIS has made an appearance flying off in the distance. I changed the time for this to be 9:30, which is when the time that was showing on the clock when Rose and Captain Jack were dancing in front of Big Ben during the Empty Child episode. So yay! I'm almost done with what is considered London. And then I'll work on the Paris stuff over here, and I already have mapped out what I'm going to do for adding something Hoovian in Paris. So I'm excited. And I'm stealing an idea. The British flag, even though I added some back stitching to it, the flag itself was already charted in the chart for this. Someone added the French flag because it wasn't charted in there, and I'm going to steal that idea and do little flags throughout because I think that's cool. And I see there's my little TARDIS and the little Dalek. I love them. I'm so excited. I don't think that's going to be the only appearance by the TARDIS. We'll just see how things go. But here's the pattern as a whole right now. So I'm going to work on finishing up London and working on Paris this week. And then depending on how far I get, once Paris is done, I'm working on the borders. So, because I have plans for the borders. And I can work on that until the borders are done or March comes out, whichever comes first. So those are my annual stitch-alongs that I will continue to work on this week. Then my Mania stitch-along last week was a Chatelaine week. And I worked on the Medieval Town Mandala by Chatelaine. And this one is on 32 Lugana in Truffle from Picture This Plus. We made some good progress on it this week. I was happy. Let's get it unfolded here. Ta-da! I got the green of vines all done and in the flower beds. I got a lot of progress on the flower beds. I started working on some of the gold outline here in the middle. But yes, I'm very pleased. La! Yay! 30 minutes a day. It really adds up. So this one will go back in the pile until the next time it comes up, either as a whip or the Chatelaine Focus Week. Then, Year of Starts. I did add my Year of Start piece that was scheduled for yesterday to it. So I have one more than what you guys saw last week in my preview. So last Sunday, I worked on the Think Happy, Be Happy row by Bent Creek. This finished out my January. And I am doing this one on 32 Lugana in pewter from Picture This Plus using flosses from Mo's sale. And here is where I was able to get to. And I have my Joy Needle Minder from Nifty Needle Nannies because Think Happy, Be Happy. I really like the variegated floss that was there. It's really pretty. So that was that one. Then, sorry, I'm looking down at all my notes because you know I have to have lots of notes with all these pieces. On Monday, I worked on Tamara by Elizabeth Almond. This was in the Cross Stitch and Needlework Spring 2015 issue. And I am doing this one on 32 Lugana in Bashful from Picture This Plus. And I just reiterated that I really do like black work. Here we go. Here is where my start on it. Isn't that pretty? The fabric, back here you can tell it's a light pink, but when you get closer to the camera, it's just not going to show the pink as well. Isn't that pretty? See, this little part right here is cross-stitched in the very middle, but then the rest of it's all the black work. I really enjoyed working on this and cannot wait to get back to it. And yes, I have more black work pieces scheduled for the Year of Starts. It's just so... The thing is, I'm not a huge fan of backstitching. I love the effect of backstitching. I don't like the process of backstitching. But black work... The piece is the stitching, and they're all so delicate and pretty, and it's just, I just really like it. Then the next one that I worked on, okay, it's Around the World in 80 Stitches from Papillon Creations. I will put a link to it below because it's an electronic pattern. I worked on this on 32 Belfast and Lily Pad from Under the Sea Fabrics. Now, the first part of this pattern are 2 hearts in the middle. And then you fill them in with specialty stitches, okay? And I'm using flosses from Jottery Designs for this. My Year of Starts, I work for 30 minutes a day on them. So I worked them 30 minutes a day on one of the hearts. I did not finish the heart. I realized that this looks like it can be several other things. I promise you, it's a heart and nothing else. Okay? There we go. It's a heart. I swear it's a heart. But I'm working on those outlines, and then there's another one that'll come over here, and then these will be filled in with specialty stitches. There's my blingy castle from Minding My Minders. It's a heart. Not any other of the several different parts of anatomies that I was told it looks like. Because the thing is, when I stitched it, I was looking at the pattern, and I know that the pattern is hearts in the middle. So when I finished it, I was like, oh, it's heart. You know, it's almost heart, almost done. I didn't see the mind in the gutter images that other people did until someone pointed it out. I'm innocent, I tell you. So then the next piece I worked on was Butterfly Elf by Soda Stitch. And this one is on 32 Belfast and Nymph from Under the Sea Fabrics. And here's where we got to this week. Such a pretty, pretty fabric. It goes this way. So I got started with some of the flowers that are actually right in the middle between the second and third fairies. That's pretty. And it's a butterfly needle minder from Delicious Threads. I love this fabric. It's just so bright and pretty. Then, let's see. How many more starts do I have? 4 more starts. Lots of starts. Oh, where did that piece go? Sorry. The next one I started, it's back in here, was from Vanessa Ann's Holiday and Cross Stitch 1994 book. And it's the Stitcher's Delight little sampler, quilt sampler. And I am doing this on 32 Lugana in Sorbet from Picture This Plus using flosses from Mo's Sale. And look, it's a block. This is one of those patterns that totally lend itself to fabrication. This is another one of those, it's a pink fabric, but it's hard to tell up close. That's Hulk floss for the part that I was working on. It's really pretty. I like it. And then I've got the blingy needle minder from Gina. It's Unique Boutique. It's a block. Doesn't look like much, but it started. Then the next one is also an electronic pattern. It's Sherlock by Wee Little Stitches, and I will post a link to it below. I am doing it on what I call the Bloody Murder fabric. It is a 32 Belfast solo die from Silk Weavers. And here I got some of Sherlock's coat done. And there's a Sherlock and John needle minder from Minding My Minders. Sorry, I got an itch in my arm. So yep, got him started. Yay! Then the next one I started, last one that you guys knew about that I was starting, was Snowdrop Fairy by Joan Elliott. Isn't she pretty? And she is being done on 28 Lugana in Midsummer Night from Under the Sea Fabrics. And here is where I was able to get to. Started some of her sleeve. And then I have a little button cover needle minder from Dragonfly Lotus and Stitchy Box. So just a little. I think she's going to be really pretty on this fabric though. Then yesterday, I knew I wasn't going to do a video, but that didn't stop the year of starts. It's an electronic pattern. It's called Crafter's Manifesto by Satsuma Street, and I will put it in a link to it below. But this is an all-white piece that is charted to be done on black fabric, but I didn't want to do it on black fabric. So I'm doing this on a 32 Belfast solo die from Silk Weavers. It's in a navy blue. And here is where I got to yesterday while watching the Super Bowl. Yay! And usually I'm not a fan with white showing the individual stitches like that when I'm doing backstitching, but this is a quasi blackwork backstitching piece, and I liked the effect that it gives for the piece that it gives, or the piece that it is. And then I've got this little blingy minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. So that's the middle of the banners. And this is a real dark navy fabric. It was a fun stitch to work on. So those are my starts for the year of starts. Still going strong. Like I said, I have figured out what I'm doing for March, and I'm making the lists for April and May because next week I am going to my stitchy shop with the other the 4 Stitchers of the Apocalypse plus the Stash Prince and Princess. It's going to be fun. I'm sure there will be a video or pictures or both. We'll see. Then my whips for the week. First one was kind of a frustrating one. It was Edwardian Lady from Joan Elliott, and I'm doing her on 32 Joblin and Calypso from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And this was all backwards progress this week because I realized as I was getting ready to stitch when you saw it last week, I had started and done a good substantial portion. I had done all of this basket and some substantial portion of her glove. And my intention was to finish her glove and start working up her arm. And then I realized as I was looking at it, I screwed up on the glove like 6 ways from Sunday. So I unpicked it all. That way, next time I work on, and by the time I was done unpicking it, like, I don't want to work on this piece anymore today. So next time it comes up, I'll actually be able to make forward progress. But there are days where, and then my minder is a Claire needle minder from Minding My Minders. Sometimes your progress is just going to go backwards, and it's frustrating, but what are you going to do? The one good thing about, or another good thing, not the one, but another good thing about my rotation is that when I get frustrated with a piece like that, it's going to go away for a while. And that's okay, because I know it'll come back. Then the next one I worked on was Elf's Garden by Soda Stitch. And this one is on 32 Belfast in Wildflowers from Under the Sea Fabrics. Ooh, I have a needle in here. Let's just put it somewhere. Do I have another minder I can put it on? Yes, there's mine. Okay, sorry. I worked primarily on back stitching this time because when I got to it, it was on that day. It was just easier to work on the back stitching. So I worked on some of the back stitching on her arms, her legs, got a little bit done here in some of the centers of the sunflowers. And there's a lot of back stitching in these flowers, so. And then it's a Drink Me bottle needle minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. But I like the back stitching. I think it makes it pop even more. Again, like the effect of back stitching, not a huge fan of the process of back stitching. And then the next whip that I worked on this week was European Bistro from the Dimensions Gold collection. And I worked primarily on, up here in this arch, a lot more of the back stitching with this brown, or not back stitching, the half stitches with this brown that went down here. So a lot of this panel over here is half stitches, or 10 stitching if you want to prefer it. And I've got my Once Upon a Time bad guys from Minding My Minders. Then, come on, kitty. Sorry, you all know me. Got to get things organized while I'm on here with you. Okay. Ah! Then the next one I worked on was my Exploding TARDIS from Sprite Stitch. I'll put a link to the pattern in the comments below. I'm so close to a page finish, I can taste it. This is just on an 18 count Ada. So close. It's an 11th Doctor from Minding My Minders. This is one of the episodes that was my favorite. Both the Vincent episode and then the one where he comes back in the Exploding TARDIS is there. Yeah. Awesome episode. Then the last whip I was able to work on this past week was my Faces of Joan Elliott stitch along, which is on 28 Joblin and Aphrodite from Under the Sea Fabrics, and I just added more of the purple of the angel's dress over here, the fairy's dress. Not a whole lot of progress, but any stitch is one stitch closer to the end, right? And then I have an I Am Sherlocked tile minder from Minding My Minders. So those were my whips. And I have one more thing to show you that I worked on this past week. If I had recorded yesterday, I still would have come back and recorded today, because yesterday was the last day of week 1 of the Mania's monthly sale, the We Love Stitching monthly stitch along. And for the first week, I worked on ABCs of Parenting by Lizzie Kate. And this is on 32 Lugana in Earthen from Picture This Plus. And I'm actually doing this 1/2. And it's looking really good. Yay! I did the yellow around the H, and then all of this row and all of this row this week. Not bad, huh? Yay! And it's a blingy Texas needle minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. So that means that today starts the next week, the second week of the stitch along. So I will let you know. I'll show you that when I'm going through my whips for this upcoming week. But that also means that Sunday I should be back for doing my regular monthly video or weekly video. And then depending on how things go on Monday, as far as seeing everyone, stitching everything, doing what we're doing, I may do a video Monday or not. We will wait and see what happens. Anyway, that was this past week. So this upcoming week ahead, I will continue with my Pumpkin Passport and Postcards from the World and Magical Creatures. If I don't finish the Magical Creatures and Postcards from the World from Clouds Factory this week, I'll be surprised. That'll just mean how really busy it is this upcoming week. For the Mania for Stitch Along this week, for me, it is a Brooks Books week. And I will be working on Madonna and Child, which is out of the 2010 Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. And I just started this like last week or the week before, so this is all the progress I have on it at this point. So we'll get started on that and see where we go. Then Year of Starts. I'm gonna do Year of Starts first. Sorry, it's got a piece that I let trail because I knew this was coming up this week. I don't usually trail if I know I'm not going to work on it again for a while, but I knew I was going to work on it this week. So, the first new start for the Year of Starts is going to be All You Need Is Love from Janlyn. It's a kit. I've got a little love needle minder from Delicious Threads that's now holding the needle that I found. And I've been told to toss the white floss in the back and just use B5200, so that's probably what I'll do. Then on Tuesday, I am scheduled to start this one. I have to show in 2 parts. It is the Gingerbread House. You see it? By Joan Elliott. And it's from The World of Cross Stitching, which issue is this? Number 196. There's that. And I'm doing that on 32 Opal Lugana in Midnight Tryst from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. So it's a sparkly nighttime fabric. And then I've got the little gingerbread girl from Minding My Minders. Then on Wednesday, I am scheduled to work on Floss Fairy from Nora Corbett. And I will be doing her on 28 Cashel in Seaside Melody from Silk Weavers. It's a pretty blue color fabric, blue and gray. And I've got a Hermione needle minder from Delicious Threads. Yay! Then the next one that I'm scheduled to start is Bluebird Santa by Mill Hill. It's another one of the little Mill Hill perforated paper Santas. Then after that is going to be Orchid Intrigue. And this is from, it's by Beth Ann Seal of Summer House Stitchworks. And it's from the Just Cross Stitch February 2015 issue. And I am doing that on a piece that I need to cut down. But it is 32 Belfast and Irene from Under the Sea Fabrics, which, yes, I will cut down. And I'm doing it with the Gentle Arts that it calls for. So the Briar Rose that it calls for. And I'm using a pretty rose needle minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. And then the last new start I have scheduled for this week, let me get this folded back up. It will be nice when this isn't quite as an unwieldy piece of fabric. I will be starting, this is one of the pieces that is 12 starts but one piece. It's the Year of Celebrations, which are being designed by Hands-On Designs. This was a set of 6 2-pattern bits that were in the Cross Stitch and Needlework magazines, and it started in January 2014 with this set. So January, and then you'll see December when we come back to December, but I'll be starting January. And I am doing this on 32 Belfast in Autumn from Under the Sea Fabrics. And it's all going to be on one piece. So I'll make sure I got it oriented correctly and all that sort of thing. And then my minder is a Cleverly Disguised as an Adult needle minder from Minding My Minders. Yay! So those are my new starts scheduled for this upcoming week. I'm excited. Then for my whips, I did have 2 holdovers from last week. So the first one was from Joan Elliott's Fairy Enchantment book. It's the Fairy Queen. It's just the drawing, the rendered drawing. And I am doing her on 32 Belfast in Dappled Hollow from Under the Sea Fabrics. And here's where I got to when I started her for the Year of Starts. Little blingy Tinkerbell minder from Minding My Minders. Or not Minding My Minders, from Gina's Unique Boutique. So I will work on that some hopefully today. It's a very fairy tale week coming up. Because the other holdover that I had this week is Fairy Tale from the Dimensions Gold Collection. Another one of my Year of Start pieces. So not a ton done on it at this point. All I've got is just this blue from her dress. The Star Needle Minder from Nifty Needle Nannies. So those are the holdovers. The next one that I have to work on is Fall Fairy from Dimensions Gold Collection, which you all saw when I was working on this in November. Made a lot of good progress on it back then. Here is where we left her when we last worked on her. I've got a Groot needle minder from Minding My Minders. So we'll work some more on her. Then this next one, I will talk about a little bit in more detail. Week 2 of We Love Stitching for the Stitch Mania monthly stitch along. I am working on this piece, and it happens to come up in my rotation this week. So I have it scheduled currently for Thursday as my rotation piece, so it'll get its hour of work for the stitch along as well as whatever other time I want to work on it after I finish the rest of my pieces for the day. But it's Flames of Desire by Leanne Seed for Heaven and Earth Designs. So I will show you this one on Sunday because it will be maybe, because it is one of my whips for this week, but I may wait and show it to you on Monday to show the full progress. Now, other caveat about this piece. It is a very red piece. Tons of red in it. This whole area outside of the moon and around the dress is not stitched. The moon is stitched, where that border is from the moon. Everything inside the moon is stitched, but everything outside of the moon, that cream color, is not stitched. So as a result, I have used the dyed fabric for this, and it's a very powerful fabric. And I've had a lot of comments from people wondering, is this going to work? I promise it's going to work. This is my Flames of Desire on 32 Belfast in Mayan Apocalypse from Under the Sea Fabrics. Now, yes, I know it's a very powerful fabric, but she's going to be emerging from the flames. And here is the progress that we've had so far. I started in the middle, because if you also recall, if you've watched my channel or read my blog, which I haven't updated in forever, I had started this piece on a different piece of fabric. I started it in the top left, like we always do for Hades. Got a page finish, was working on the second page, hated it. I was doing full cross. I was doing a different kind of fabric. No. So this is 32 Belfast 1/1 tent stitch. And I'm loving it so far. And I started in the middle because it is a pattern that I could start in the middle. So I promise it's not, working on it, it's just like working on a dark fabric. I can see it easily enough as I could any other dark fabric. And she's going to be looking like she's coming out of the flames with working on her. And I'm so excited. I love it. And it's a Jamie and Claire needle minder from Minding My Minders. So this will get, it's my whip for the week for Thursday, but it's also going to get attention every day this week as part of the stitch along for Stitch Mania. Make sense? Okay. Then Friday, assuming we're not having any, I'm not behind anything, my whip for the week will actually be Floss Fairy because of how it falls in the alphabet. Floss Fairy, I'm supposed to start her on Wednesday, so on Friday she would end up being the whip if we keep going in alphabetical order. So Saturday, my last whip is Flowering Crown by Just Nan. The Queen's Needle Never Sleeps. And this one is being done on 28 Jobelan and Avalon from Under the Sea Fabrics. Here's where we are at this point. Working on that crown. Got an Elsa needle minder from Gina's Unique Boutique. So we'll get some more progress on that this week. And I'm excited because I really like this piece. So those are my plans for the upcoming week. We'll see how I do. Like I said, it's going to be a busy week. My kids have busier social lives than I do. Oh, Teresa's in a enrichment program after school on Mondays and Tuesdays. It's a kind of tutorials, but not really. She's actually starting a sewing class this week for her enrichment. She just finished up a session where they learned how to write a comic book. And the whole intention, the idea behind it is to not do your rote tutorials where you sit down and you're just repeating over and over the tutorials and the skills that you learn in class. It's to take it and kind of put it into a more application real life setting. And that is supposed to help better prepare them for when they do their standardized testing. So the one that they just did, or that she just did, they had a whole bunch of different classes they could choose from. She did a comic book class. So, because she loves to draw and she loves to write stories. So its real focus was both on the creative writing aspect, because as fourth graders, they have writing in their standardized testing now, as well as having to make sure, you know, descriptive words and making sure that, you know, things are being made visible as they wanted to. And there also was some math involved, because if you had X number of squares and you had your story, how are you going to divide it up? So this week she starts a sewing one, and this is going to go on every Monday and Tuesday until spring break. So that's going to be a lot of math, and she's really excited about it. She has a sewing machine. I have a sewing machine. I don't really use them. So she's excited to actually learn how to go and start sewing beyond like stitching like what I do. So I'll be interested to hear how she goes. And then we've got a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. Thursday, David has soccer practice. Teresa has rehearsal for the spring show, the school-wide spring show. Kindergarten isn't in it, or else David would be doing it too. And then Friday we've got Girl Scouts again, and Saturday we have a Girl Scout cookie booth, her third. She has to do 3 cookie booths this season, and she's already done 2 this past weekend. She did 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. So she has another one this Saturday, and then David has his first soccer game, and then we've got Sunday school, and we've got, it's just, I'm exhausted already thinking about it. Anyway, so we'll see how far I get on all of my stitchy projects this week. Last little bit that I have for you this week is my stash acquisitions, and it's not really big this week, but that's okay. The first, as you all know, I am on the auto order for the Country Cottage Needleworks Gingerbread Village series that comes out. I'm on the auto order group with the Silver Needle in Tulsa. So I got the next bit, which is Gingerbread House number 2. Yeah. So cute. And it's got a little peppermint button, which I'm not sure the pattern, but it's got a little peppermint button that goes on it. So cute. So I got that. And then I got my stitchy box, which, OMG, Liz, amazing. It is just awesome. I know if you've already watched Coffee Stitcher's video, this year Stitchy Box has gone with, they're using works of art as their theme, their color scheme themes. And this month was water lilies. It's so pretty. I'm not going to read the back of the cards again because I'm sure it's been done ad nauseum at this point. Fabric wise, I got a different one than Coffee Stitcher. And if other people have done Stitchy Box videos, I haven't gotten to them yet. I swear I'm watching videos, but I'm still in October. The one I got, it's a 28 count Lugana in Chime from Picture This Plus. It's such a pretty orangey yellow fabric. I love it. And it can be a neutral. It's not so orange that it's overwhelming, but it's really pretty. And then, so that was the fabric. Then, I'll do the beads next. Here are the embellishments. Let's see, get it all in here. We have the two-tone glass amethyst butterfly focal bead, which is just so cute. This little amethyst bead. It's hard to, with the gold painting on it. It's so pretty. And then I got one of the emerald glass flower focal beads too. I just love it. It's so, I don't know how I'm going to use it for yet, but it's so pretty. And then we got the two laser cut bamboo buttons. So those are cute. Then I got the 2mm glass pearl beads in navy, which are, they're showing up black, but they're really a beautiful deep navy blue. And then we've got the size 11, the copper lined teal beads. And then the crystal pink ones. Yay, seed beads. And then the flosses. I've already gone and purchased more flosses because we all know I love my flosses. And just, wow, what Stitchy Box had this time around. In love. First we had Silken Colors, which I'm familiar with because I use them for my chatelaines. This color is called Forget Me Not. Isn't it beautiful? Pinks and blues and purples, and it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. And then we have the Krennic Silk Mori. This is a dark navy. Let's see, can I see here? But it's a dark navy. It's really pretty. Then the Gentle Art limited edition that came through for this one. I forget what it's called because it's not written on here, but it's the limited edition. Is it in the other card? Let me look so I can tell you what it's called. It is called, I don't know. I'm just going to call it Monet's Water Lilies. I'm sure there's another name. It's probably on the Stitchy Box website, but isn't that pretty? It's this pale green and it's got a little bit of brown. It's just, it's beautiful. And yes, I ordered some more of it. Just like I did with Winter Queen. And then two Valdani flosses. This is Sweet Violets. It's a pretty variegated purple. And then this one is Nantucket Rose, which is a pretty variegated pink. And they come, they're part of a larger set. I got the larger set. No willpower. That's okay. I'm happy. So that is about it for me this week. Like I said, got a busy week. Should be back on Sunday if everything goes the way it should go this week, busy or not. But yeah, I should be back Sunday for my normal weekly update because I got everything else taken care of today. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Stitchy week. Like I said, I'm working on getting caught up on my videos. It's a slow but sure process. It will probably never actually happen, but I am watching. And if there's something you really want me to watch that's like recent, let me know, because every day I add things onto my watch later list, and I take a few things off, but I always seem to add 3 times as many as I'm actually taking off. So I'll get to it eventually. It just may not be for a while. Oh well. But I hope everyone has a wonderful stitchy week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!